Hey, what's going on, my friend? Chris Salim here from MIXDOWN Online. A week ago, I had a conversation live on this YouTube channel with Daniel Wyatt. We had an amazing time. Daniel shared with us 5 top mixing mistakes that you need to know. If you want to watch that video, I'm going to leave the link on top and down below. Now, I have a question from Michel Doucet that is related to this live session. And it goes like this. First, I gotta say that this video was freaking cool. Please, Chris, do an in-depth video on routing. I always send my effects to the main bus, but you don't. Why? Why not? So I'm gonna explain that to you right after the intro. Now, before we jump in, if you're new here on the channel, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And for all of you, you guys know the drill. Share and like if you enjoy this video. Now, I'm just gonna have you watch a small clip out of that conversation I had with Daniel Wyatt. Daniel pointed out something that you need to know when working with instrument buses.
Chris or Daniel, would you use a bus for instrumental tracks?
Let me check here.
Yes, I would say this, and this might be a little hard to explain verbally without showing you, but a lot of people like to make a drum bus, for example, where they'll take all the drum tracks and then directly output them to a bus and then process the bus to give it an overall hug. Yes, you can do it, but, and this is a little heady, but what happens is when you, let's say you want to put reverb on your snare and you also want to have a drum bus. When you directly output all of your elements to that bus and you change your snare fader level, your post-fader reverb send relationship becomes broken.
Okay, now let's jump in Cubase and look this up. I'm going to explain to you and strip that down for you to understand what Daniel is talking about, because it is very important. So I have like 5 drum tracks. It's just a drum groove out of Groove Agent that I converted into audio. Okay, so let's have a quick listen. Very straightforward. What I have here are the 5 audio the channels. Then I have the drum bus, which is the drum group that I routed all of those drum audio channels in. Okay, so this is a stereo drum group. Then I have a plate verb for the snare. Now, if we look at the snare channel, I added some reverb on that snare. That is the plate reverb that I have right here on my effects channel track. If I look at the routing, like I was saying earlier, all those audio channels are routed into this group drum bus. This one is going straight to the output of the session, stereo out. And same for the effects channel track that has the reverb as an insert. Also goes to the stereo out. So that is my basic stripped down example to show you what Daniel was talking about on this on our last conversation. Okay, now if I play the part and I bring down the snare, my signal right here is sent to the reverb post fader. So that means that the relationship between the level of my channel and the level of the reverb is going to work out. You know, they're going to be in the same, it's going to have the same relationship. Okay, everything is going to stay in balance if I turn down that channel. That's because the signal is sent to that effects channel track post fader. If I bring that pre-fader instead, it's going to be the opposite. If I bring down my snare channel, I'm still going to hear the reverb. Okay, so I'm going to bring that back to post fader. Now, if we talk about the drum instrument bus that we have right here, listen to what's going to happen if I bring that one down. Now we're losing the post-fader reverb send relationship. And this is something that you need to be aware of. So if you want to tone down the entire drum take and keep that relationship going, you're going to need to bring those two channels down. Okay, so one thing you can do in this case, I can just click on Quick Link, select the drum channels and the effects channel track and bring them down all together. So this is one way you can do it. You know, if you just want to bring that, you know, a couple of dB down, that's a very quick way to do it. Or you can just route the output of that effects channel track directly into the same drum group as the individual tracks. And that also is going to keep that effects send relationship, okay? So let's just have a quick listen. Okay, now everything is going into the same bus. But if you don't want to do that and you want to keep that the effects channel separated from the main drum bus, there's no problem with that and nothing wrong about that either. Just be aware that you'll need to bring those two channels down in this case if you want to bring the drums lower or higher, okay? So something you can do is to use a VCA fader, which in this case is going to be very useful. So I'm going to select those two channels and right click and click on Add VCA Fader to Selected Channels. And there you go. Now this way, I'm going to keep the post-fader effect send relationship. Now let's jump on a more complex and more advanced mixing session. Okay, now let's have a quick listen of what we have here.
Feels like you're drowning, sinking fast and going down so deep.
Okay, let's mute a few things here and just keep the drums for now. I have all of my instrument buses here. I love to work with instrument buses. This is how my mixing template is set up. If you want to know more about my mixing template, you can click on the link on top or down below. I have a free mini course telling you everything you need to know about building a mix template and also a free ebook that comes with it. And you also have access to my template, my routing template that I use in Cubase. Okay, now what I have, okay, is a bunch of instrument buses that goes into my stereo output. Okay, so all of those buses are going into this stereo out, which is my main mix bus, basically. That then will go to the stereo out, the main output of Cubase. Then I have, if we look only at the drums, I have all of my channels, okay, my audio channels, you know, kicks, snares, hi-hats, toms and stuff, you know, which a lot of those are going to be routed into a specific group, like the kick drums and the snares. I work with several snares, samples, the bottom snare, top snares, same for the kick, where I have like an inside mic, an outside microphone, and maybe some samples. Those are all going to be routed into that same group where I'm going to add some processing and stuff. Most of the time anyways. It's going to happen that I'm going to do otherwise, but in the most part, this is how I'm going to work. And same for the overheads. When I'm using two microphones to mic the overheads, I'm definitely going to route those into a stereo group. And this is from those group channels that in the most part, I'm going to add parallel processing, reverb, you know, compression, saturation, and stuff like that. If I want everything that has to do with parallel processing, I'm going to send using those groups in the most part. So one for the kick, one for the snare, toms, overheads, and room. And then I have all of my effects, which are my parallel processing. Like I have one snare reverb for this one, and I have like a bunch of parallel compression channels that has some saturation and stuff. So I'm not going to go into this today, but just to show you the layout that I have on my template. And I also have a drum kit bus, which is going to take care of only the drums without the effects. I only have one this one that is a parallel compressor for that drum group only. Now, this drum group is going to stay at unity point, you know, the entire mix. This is what I usually do. I don't touch the level of the fader of that group. It's always going to stay at the same level. This one is going straight to the mix drum bus. Okay, all those effects, all those parallel channels also are routed directly into this mix bus. So that drum mix bus is kind of my stereo output for drums only, or all percussive related instruments. Everything is going into this bus, included the effects, the reverbs, the parallel processing, and so on. So let's say I want to automate the level of the drums. What I do on my side, I'm not going to touch the drum kit drum bus. Instead, I'm just going to bring down that main level. So if I need to bring down the drums for the verse or bring it up for the chorus, what I'm going to do is just to work on this one, because this one is going to include everything, all of my effects like reverbs and stuff. So this way I'm going to keep that post fader effect send relationship. Okay, and this is something that I always did on my end without even paying attention too much about that issue that could happen. So this is how I do it. So I do this for all instruments. Everything related to bass is going into this one. Same for guitars and stuff, and that also includes the reverbs and delays for that I mix with my guitars. Also are routed into the guitar mix bus, the final mix bus. So that gives me two options. I can automate this channel and bring everything down, but I can also, and this is something that I do a lot, like you can see here, I will automate the snare and the kick. And that also is going to work because those two channels are the channels where I am sending the signal to those parallel processing channels. Okay, so this way, if I automate the kick and the snare, so if I want to bring the kick and the snare down for the verse and so on, and same for overheads and stuff, I'm going to do it from those channels. So this way, I keep my post fader effect send relationship. Now, if I bring that main drum kit channel down, I'm losing that post fader effect send relationship. So this is something that you need to be aware of when routing and working with instrument buses. I'm a big fan of instrument buses. I know that Danny doesn't work with them a lot, but he uses a lot of Vca Faders, which is going to work great also. And that can be actually useful. So let's say, let's say I have like a bunch of other percussion tracks or loops and stuff that I don't want to mess around with, that I love the level the way they are. And I want to bring only the acoustic drums lower in my mix without touching the level of those tracks that are also going into that main mix bus channel. In this case, what I would do is to select my main drum kit, because this is the channel that I want to lower in this case. I would select this one and also all of my parallel channels, right-click, and create a Vca Fader. That is going to be my option. And then I can automate that channel, which is going to lower the level of the full drum mix also. Okay, so this is going to work the same, and in this case, everything else that is routed into the main mix bus, percussions or extra drummer loops, are not going to be touched. Okay, so I would definitely work with a Vca Fader in that case. So if you want to keep all of your effects routed to the stereo bus, there's nothing wrong with that. Just be aware of this post fader effect send relationship, okay, that you need, that is going to be affected if you bring down the drum bus. Now, I hope that helps, and I hope it was not too confusing. If you have any comments or questions, leave everything down below. Don't forget to share, to like if you enjoyed this video, and to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. All right, my friends, until next time, take care and see you.